Welcome in, Bobcat fans, to Week 3 of the Frostburg Sports Awards, and I have our male athlete of the week, Christian Thornton, here after he made 3 catches last week against Charleston, 2 of them for touchdowns, including one with a minute left in regulation to get what was the winning score for the Bobcats until overtime. Christian, I just want to get your overall thoughts on your performance last week.
I thought the performance was good. I think as a team, we played well, and as an offense, we played pretty good. We could have executed on more things, but of course, there's always room for improvement, so I think next week will be better.
I wanted to get your thoughts, and we were up in the press box the whole time, and a packed Bobcat Stadium for the first time in 2 years. It's Charleston, one of the best teams in the conference. We're right up there with them. What was the atmosphere like for you guys? And I remember thinking all throughout the game, this is a fun game. Like, regardless of result, it's a fun game. What were your thoughts on that?
I think it was pretty cool. When the touchdown happened, I wasn't expecting anything to happen different, and then when the lights started going crazy, it kind of like amped me up a little bit, but I think it was pretty good. I like the fans coming out, supporting, and I think it was a pretty good day.
Yeah, the light show I think caught a few people by surprise, considering it's new and the shock factor of it. On that first touchdown catch, you're right in the back of the end zone, all the way on the right side. And it's a really good catch to get both your feet in. What are your feelings as you catch that ball from Graham, and the lights go off and your teammates all surround you? What was that feeling like?
I think it was probably one of the best feelings I had since I've been here. Graham really couldn't have put the ball in a better spot. So when I kind of like turned my head and seen the ball right there, I kind of just put my hands out, attached it, and just squeezed and try to do everything we practiced during the week.
So I wanted to talk about a couple of your teammates, where Malik Morris and Leakin Akubu, who you've played with almost since your time here, since you started, where they're 2 senior members. They're both great wide receivers in their own right. What have you sort of learned from the both of them? And then as well, Kyle Belak coming in the spring and bringing his experience as a graduate student. What have those 3 kind of taught you as you've come along and kind of gotten into your own here at Frostburg?
Well, I would say we kind of like nitpick off each other. So if one person's lacking in one ability or something like that, we kind of try to teach each other and help each other out, no matter where everybody's at or who's first, who's second. We kind of help each other out in a way to everybody can succeed in a way.
Coming in, you've dealt with a different kind of range of quarterbacks. You go back to Will Brunson and then Chad Palmer in the spring as well, and then Graham, where each of them bring something different to the game. But this year with Graham, what does he bring that maybe the other 2 either didn't have, or something that Graham's just kind of unique at?
I think Graham trusts us a lot. That's a good thing about it, because most of the time receivers nowadays don't really get much separation because of how good people are. So you have to have trust in your receivers, and Graham does a good job of trusting us and putting pretty much the ball in our hands, or the ability in our hands, for us to make a play for him and him to make a play for us, pretty much. So it's kind of like a 1-2 punch. We help each other out.
So you talked about not being able to get separation, and we've got 2 cornerbacks in Cayenne and Stacy, who you've dealt with in practice for, again, a number of years now. How helpful is it to have those 2 be as good as they are for your own game, to be able to be like, okay, well, these guys are really good, but how can I get around them in a way?
It's kind of like everybody says, like, iron sharpens iron. So we go to practice with each other every day. We compete. Nobody really humbles each other, so we kind of like just compete with each other and keep it cordial until the day after, and then we come back and compete again. It's kind of like a chain movement, to where we always compete with each other, but we never make it personal.
We get back to the Charleston game then, and the second touchdown that you caught, back of the end zone, you're wide open. Graham puts it on the money for you. You get the feet inbounds. What's going through your mind when you see that you're wide open, the ball's right there, and then after the catch, you make the touchdown with a minute left?
Honestly, in my mind, I didn't know the ball was coming, but I knew I seen the safety squat. So at the moment, I knew I was going to run past him, because he would have to turn his head and kind of catch up with me. So I didn't know if the ball was coming, but I knew I was going to be open as soon as he squatted. And then when the ball came, I kind of just wanted to focus on the ball, my feet, and then after that, whatever happens, happens.
We get the interception, and then the 3 and out, and then Charleston gets the ball back. They go down, they kick what I believe to be an MEC record in the field goal from their kicker, made at 53 yards. What's going through kind of the team mentality in that moment of, okay, well, we thought we had the game won, now we got to go to overtime. What's the message from the coaches? What are you guys feeling going into overtime after that?
Honestly, my perspective, I really thought he was going to miss it. So honestly, didn't have no doubt in my mind that we were going to win that game before overtime. But we have seniors like Malik Morris and Malcolm on the sidelines always screaming. There's a lot of ball game left. So, just kind of trying to keep people in a mindset of like there's still always game left. You know what I mean?
Going back into it in the overtime, you catch a nice pass, get the first down to eventually lead Gavin to get the first touchdown in the first overtime. And something that I noticed, I was looking back at some of your stats throughout your career where you're not the type of receiver where you're going to make a ton of catches throughout the year. Malik has kind of taken that in his own stride. But the catches you do make, you make a lot of touchdowns with your grabs. Is that something that you kind of worked on and that the coaches know that they can trust you in any situations you come in, teams aren't ready for you, and you go and you make a big play?
It's kind of like just waiting for your opportunity and succeeding when you get the opportunity because we have a lot of talent on the team. So you're not going to get as many plays as you maybe did in high school or as you did before. So you kind of just take the opportunity and just fulfill it.
Going into this week against Concord, who I know Coach Fitzgerald said that they're going to surprise a lot of teams this year. They're going to win one game that people aren't expecting them to win. What's your guys' preparation where you get those couple extra days of rest from the Thursday game going into a Saturday? What's kind of going through your head? How are you preparing for this game on Saturday?
Keeping everything the same. Always want to improve, but keep our mentality and everything the same so we don't change up anything. We just change like our effort and increase that and increase our intensity, and then we'll be good.
Well, Christian, I want to thank you for coming in and taking the time out of your day. Obviously, busy class schedule, the practices, the games coming thick and fast now. But thank you once again for coming to talk to us, and congratulations once again being named Male Athlete of the Week for Frostburg.
Thank you, guys.
All right, well, next up we will have head coach DeLane Fitzgerald from football, who's been our coach of the week. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. Go Bobcats. Back here on the Frostburg Sports Awards, and I have Coach of the Week, head football coach DeLane Fitzgerald after football's 30-24 win over Charleston last Thursday. Coach, I just want to get your thoughts on Bobcat Stadium being full for the first time in 2 years. Charleston's a great opponent. It goes to double overtime. I was thinking in the press box, this is just a very fun game. Is that kind of what you had on the sideline? Were you able to have any fun on the sideline?
I don't have any fun during a football game, but the atmosphere was just like we had never left, like the pandemic never happened, and we never skipped a fall, and it was very, how you said, it was a reminder that things can get back to normal, things can be good.
And so coming into the game against Charleston, what was your guys' preparation for them? It's on a short week. It's a Thursday game. Charleston, again, as I mentioned, the number 2 team in the preseason poll, one of the top teams in the conference. What was your guys' preparation going into the game?
We had told our players that Charleston wanted us not to love football last week, and Charleston wanted us not to be ready to play on a short week. And the guys only had really 4 days to get ready, 4 days of preparation for our coaches and our players. This university loves football, but this football program and the players and the coaches that are in this football program love football. And the only thing that's better than playing every 7 days for us is playing every 5 days. So the guys did what they were supposed to do last week to get themselves mentally and physically ready to play on Thursday night, and then we came out and played hard.
So the first half we go in, and it's really a defensive battle. Neither offense was able to really generate a ton of offense. And then for you guys, always Dane time for the Bobcats. Dane Coots kicking the field goal to get it back to 7-3. What in the first half wasn't exactly clicking for you guys where the offense wasn't exactly putting up the points? And again, credit to Charleston's defense, but what then changed in the second half?
Yeah, both teams had a little bit of a feeling out process on Thursday night to open the game. Our defense has a bend but don't break mentality, and they're okay giving up a first down or two and just not giving up the big one later on in the drive, and that's what we were doing, which was frustrating Charleston some. And then offensively, we just didn't click to start with. We had 1 first down in the first quarter, which is completely unacceptable, and then we go into halftime, we're down 7-3. Now, we don't know this at the time, but our determination to run the football on offense, it didn't pay any dividends in the first half, but then it was big at the end of the game.
Absolutely. And speaking of the rushing offense, Gavin Lavatte, I spoke to him. We saw him in the hallway after the game. He thinks that he didn't really play well throughout the entire regulation. Obviously, he scored the 2 touchdowns in overtime, but Malcolm Facey was able to come in. He got some chunk plays, but the two of them together, it seemed like Charleston was prepared for Gavin, but they weren't exactly prepared for Malcolm to come in and give that change of pace. Is that what you saw as well?
I thought Malcolm played well. Malcolm probably played a little better than his stats were the other night. Similar to the way 2 weeks ago against West Virginia State, Gavin played better than his stats. But they're rushing for around 100 yards per game, each of them, and it seems like one week one scores all the touchdowns, and then the next week the other one scores all the touchdowns, and that's what we're doing now. But Gavin didn't play well in the first half, and then turned around in the second half and played better. But then in overtime, he was the best football player on the field.
Absolutely. And one player I wanted to bring up, and we just talked to him, our male athlete of the week, was Christian Thornton. And want to call back to our preseason interview. You called it at the beginning of the season. Christian Thornton's going to make a couple plays that are going to make a difference in games this year. And he did that in this game with 2 touchdown catches, one to give us our first lead, and then the next one to give us another lead with 1 minute left in the game. A guy that comes up just big in situations every time.
He does, and he doesn't give you any warning. Like, you don't know which week it's going to be. And Christian's always a solid football player, and he's solid for us on special teams. He runs good routes. He catches the football. He blocks for his teammates at the wide receiver position. Does a nice job. But about once a month, and Christian got here in 2018. About once a month, Christian shows up and has 2 or 3 touchdown catches in a game that you don't expect him to do that in.
One thing that I told him is that, he's not a guy that's going to make a ton of catches throughout the season, but when he does make those catches, they are very important to the team. Another callback that I want to make is that you said, again, beginning of the season, Malik Morris is going to block a punt or a field goal or something in the beginning of the year, and he did that same thing. And then Carl Igwe also coming up with a big block where those special teams plays really could have made the difference in the game, and 2 huge plays for them.
I wish they'd have blocked that 53-yard field goal. That would have been nice. Saved all of us a little bit of stress on Thursday night. Malik is as good as any special teams player in this conference. I said that in August. Still believe that. Malik will end up with 3, 4, 5 block kicks during the course of the year, and he's got 1 in 3 games, so he's still got a handful more to get this year. But does a great job, and he's been blocking kicks since he was a freshman here. It might have been Carl's first block kick since he's been here. So in 4 seasons, that might be his first block kick for us, but it was a big one. It was a big one in overtime, and it helped us win the football game.
Now, going back to that field goal that you mentioned, the 53-yarder, which we believe is a MEC record for a kicker to make that. What's the message to the team where, we get that interception with a minute left and the 3 and out, and we think we've won it, they go down and they make that field goal. What's the message to the team now going into overtime where we think we had the game won and now we got to play extra football?
Yeah, it did, and I'll go back to I don't know if that's a conference record for a field goal, but if I'm not mistaken, he broke the school record last week. So he broke the school record against Fairmont State and then turned around and re-broke his own record a week later. So anyway, big kicks. Not only did he kick it 53 yards, he got it off so fast that we couldn't get there because that was our best rush of the night and just couldn't get there because their operation snap hold kick was so efficient. The message is, and this one more time, we love to play football. We love to play football. He just hit a record kick that is going to allow us to play 2 more periods of football. We get to play more plays, and our kids ran out there and they got themselves back right. Logan, from a coaching standpoint, we don't lose in overtime. In my coaching career, I maybe have lost 1 overtime game. So somewhere around 12-1, 15-1, whatever it is, because it's been in a lot of overtime games. We don't lose. We prepare our players. Our coaches and players are prepared to play extra football. We're prepared to take a 5-minute break, which is what you take from the end of regulation to the start of the overtime. We're prepared to take a 5-minute break and then turn around and tee it up and go as hard as we can possibly go again.
We talked about Gavin Lavatte earlier, where he's almost the perfect running back to have in those overtime situations. You get the ball on the 25-yard line, and you just got to punch it in and score however you can. And he did that twice for you guys. And you mentioned that second half he played much better than the first half, came up with the 2 huge scores. And it's just something he's done throughout his career, is come up with big play after big play.
In 2021 and in this era, these kids go 7-on-7, 7-on-7, 7-on-7. It's what they do all summer. And then they have to turn around and tackle Gavin and tackle Malcolm for 3.5 hours, 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's not what they want to do. It's not the type of physicality. The young guys say they don't want that smoke. No, they don't want that smoke. It's not the physicality they are looking for. And Gavin took the thing over in overtime. He knew that if he went and did his thing, we were going to win the game. And he took over in overtime. Good for us.
And wanted to kind of wrap up here with, we give you Coach of the Week, obviously, and it's something that I know that you would like to bring forward as well, is that football isn't just about one coach. You have an entire staff behind you for coaching each different position, and they all obviously deserve all their credit. One that I remember when I was cutting up the highlight, when Mitchell West made his interception in the game, he came running over to sideline, immediately jumped into the arms of Kyle Wiggins, who coached the safeties, and gave him a big hug. That was brilliant to see, and I love watching that.
Yeah, I may be the worst coach on this coaching staff, but I'm how you say this. I completely understand that if all the coaches on this coaching staff are better than me, we'll be just fine each week now. It'll be okay. We're great coaching staff. I don't want to start naming them because I'll end up forgetting a coach. I'll leave somebody out, but there's me and 10 others, and they do a great job. But our players are very well coached at each position.
Now, going into this next week, you travel out to Athens, West Virginia to take on Concord, a team that kind of we've been passing. You said that they're going to surprise a team or two this year in terms of their expectations and how they end up playing. What's your preparation going into this next week then, where you have a couple of extra days rest to get some guys healthy from the Thursday game going now into this Saturday?
To be going into our fourth game of the year, we're fairly healthy. Our guys did a nice job of getting themselves ready this summer, and Coach Lenhart down in the weight room does a nice job with the prehab and stuff with our players. So we're fairly healthy. Health's not a problem for us this week. It's a trap game. It's a trap game, and you can do the old Bill Parcells where you hang the mouse traps from all of their lockers to get their attention. But it's not a fun trip down to southern West Virginia. We're playing in a town that doesn't have a hotel or motel, so you have to stay an hour away in another town that's just it's not great. It's just not great. Dave Walker won 6 or 7 state titles in the state of West Virginia as a high school coach. He's their new football coach. Dave Walker understands good football. He understands how to get them ready. He'll have them ready. Logan Williams, their defensive coordinator, I think is one of the better coordinators in this conference. He runs an unorthodox defense, which makes you do some different things on offense. You have to change blocking schemes, and you have to do some things that way. They'll have them ready to play this Saturday at 1 o'clock. We have to make sure that we're ready to play this Saturday at 1 o'clock so we don't fall into the trap. They throw the ball. They mix it up on offense and throw the ball as well as anybody in our conference. And sooner or later, Concord is going to be a good football program again. We just hope it's not this week.
All right, well, Coach, I want to thank you for coming to take the time to talk to us. I know you love being on these interviews all the time and coming to talk about your team, but we want to thank you once again, and congratulations, Coach of the Week. Big win over Charleston. We're wishing you the best of luck for this week as well.
Logan, thank you for having me.
All right, well, next up we'll have our Female Athlete of the Week, Caroline Burton from women's soccer. Thank you, go Bobcats, and pound Cats pound. Welcome back to our final award for the Frostburg Sports Awards for Week 3. I'm here with Caroline Burton, who's our Female Athlete of the Week after scoring 2 goals, 1 in each game against Alderson, Broadus, and Wheeling. Caroline, I just wanted to start it off and see what your thoughts on your performance for the past week.
I was really happy with my performance. I don't score a lot. Last year in our whole season, I only had 1 goal, so it's really exciting to score 2 goals in the same week, and then I had a couple of good shots too that didn't make it in, so I was really happy.
It was one thing that I wanted to bring up from last season where you said just the 1 goal, where Leela's kind of playing in that number 10, and last year was Tony as well, where they kind of take more of the attacking force, but you kind of are box to box in terms of getting back defensively and then having the energy to go forward this year. Is that something that you've sort of added, or you just have gotten the chances this year that you've been able to take them?
I think I am equally attacking. Last year and this year, our formation's a lot different now, and I think the main difference is just looking at the goal. Last year I had a lot of opportunities to shoot where I just had my head down and made a pass to someone else.
Is that something that comes with maybe confidence and trusting yourself, and then growing into the college game where coming from high school you might take those chances, then college you might be a little bit more reserved in that, and now you're just kind of stepping into it?
Yeah, I think so, maybe. Maybe a good way to put it.
And then talking about some of your midfield partners and Hannah Thompson and Leela and then Corey, who also can come in off the bench, you all kind of bring something different to the team where Hannah's more sort of the number 6 where she's holding more often than not, but can also go forward. Leela's the number 10 where she's more attacking in a sense, and then can also play out wide. And then you're kind of like the energy, the battery in midfield where you kind of go wherever. So what is it like playing in that system where there's 3 of you in there and you all kind of bring something different?
I think it's good. I think whenever someone new gets subbed in or someone goes out, it's a positive because maybe bring something new against the other team that they're not expecting. I think all of us have really good chemistry in the middle. We always try to play off of each other and combine throughout the middle. I think that's my favorite way to play and beat teams is a lot of passing and combination.
So we'll get into your first goal of the week against Alderson Broadus on the road. A team last year where at home we kind of struggled to break them down. They just basically played 10 at the back, 1 up front, and was tough to break them down. But this time we beat them 3-0. Only had 3 shots against us, not on goal. And you got the first goal in that game, where kind of a striker's instinct in a way, even though you're coming from midfield to get on the end of a rebound and put that one home, just to get the real early lead. So take some pressure off the team just 3 minutes in.
Yeah, I think it was good to score, especially early on. When the longer the game goes on, the more likely a team is to put numbers in the back. But they didn't really play that way this year. They were more pushing their defense up, trying to get us offsides. But that goal just came from an awesome shot from Keeley, our freshman, and it rebounded, and I finished it.
And then the second goal of the weekend against Wheeling, also the first goal of the game, was a much nicer strike with the hold-up play from Audra, edge of the box, and you came onto it and just curled it wonderfully into the top right corner. Something that I know we've talked with Coach Parker that you have in your locker. It just doesn't always come to the forefront, but certainly in that game and in that goal, it certainly benefited us with getting that lead.
Yeah, I don't always look for the long outside shot, but every now and then it's good to score, and it's definitely prettier than maybe the ugly rebound, but they both count.
Absolutely one and the same. And talk about another one of your teammates in Mackenzie Fulch, who also in that Alderson Broadus game scored an absolute screamer from about 35 yards out. Her first collegiate goal and one of the leaders on this team as a senior. What was the team's reaction to surround her for scoring that goal? A, it was just a great goal to see, and then B, it being her first college goal.
Oh, everyone was so excited. We ran over, goal celebration, give her a high five, jump on her back or something. But everyone was super happy to see it. I know she was really excited.
One other thing I wanted to bring up with you as a player is that you played a lot of minutes last year. I think it was you and Hannah, for our field players, actually led the team in minutes, besides I think Abby may have, where you both kind of can just play the whole game. Is that something you just always had, that you can just run the whole game, not get too tired and be able to play? Or is it something that you've kind of grown into as you've gotten to college?
I've always sort of played majority of the game in the middle. Just coming from a smaller club team, we didn't have maybe the numbers stacked in the middle, so I'm used to it. And the position's just a lot of running.
And then so this upcoming week, you guys come back home on Wednesday against West Liberty, a team that you didn't see last year. That'll be a new team for you guys to face. So what's your preparation going in? You come back home, it's a night game, you get the lights to play under at 7:30. What's kind of the team's feeling, the preparation going in, where you've kind of picked up the results after a couple of early tough season losses?
I think right now that we definitely have momentum from that, especially coming back from the Concord game, which is unfortunate, but to have 2 wins off of that is a lot better outlook on this week than last week's Monday practice. I was not looking forward to, but we'll probably just watch some film on West Liberty, and our coaches, especially our assistant, Ashley, always gives us a really good recap of the team and what we need to look at defensively and offensively.
Well, Caroline, I want to thank you for coming in, taking the time to talk to us. Obviously, busy class schedule and games and practices all coming at you, but really appreciate you, and congratulations once again on your 2 goals and Female Athlete of the Week for us.
Thank you, guys.
All right, well, we will be back next week with the Frostburg Sports Awards, so stay tuned to frostburgsports.com and on our YouTube channel at Frostburg State Athletics. Thank you for watching.